One clue was left behind at the crime scene: a large red flashlight. Investigators believed it might finally reveal who had entered Camp Scott that night. But the fingerprint on its lens was too smudged to identify anyone. And decades later, it remains one of the case's most haunting, unanswered questions. This is the story of the Oklahoma Girl Scout murders, one of the most heartbreaking and challenging criminal investigations in American history. On June 12, 1977, Girl Scouts from Tulsa and nearby communities arrived at Camp Scott in Locust Grove, Oklahoma. For many of the girls, it was their first camping trip away from home. Counselors welcomed hundreds of campers as they settled into tents, explored the trails, and looked forward to a week of outdoor activities. That evening, a thunderstorm moved across the camp. Rain and strong winds swept through the forest as campers settled in for the night. During the early morning hours, Counselor Carla Wilhite recalled hearing an unusual moaning sound somewhere near the camp road. After checking the area and finding nothing obvious, she believed it was an animal and returned to her tent. After sunrise, during her walk toward the shower area, a counselor noticed something unusual along a wooded trail. Authorities were called immediately, and Camp Scott was transformed into one of the largest crime scenes Oklahoma had ever seen. 3 young campers had lost their lives, and the investigation began. One camper said they heard a scream in the night, and another camper said they heard someone crying for their mama. A camper in Tent 7 later recalled seeing a flashlight beam, followed by the silhouette of a man who vanished just as suddenly. Detectives worked quickly to preserve the scene before rain and foot traffic could destroy valuable evidence. They photographed the area, collected fingerprints, examined footprints. Investigators recovered several important pieces of physical evidence, including the large red flashlight, duct tapes, and rope found near the scene. As investigators followed hundreds of leads, attention eventually turned to Jean Leroy Hart, a primary suspect with a criminal history who was familiar with the surrounding area. After an extensive search, Hart was arrested. In 1979, the case went to trial. Prosecutors presented evidence linking Hart to the investigation, while the defense challenged its reliability. After hearing weeks of testimony, the jury found that the evidence was not sufficient to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Hart was acquitted, leaving many difficult questions unanswered. The Girl Scout murders changed summer camp safety practices across the United States and remain one of Oklahoma's most significant criminal investigations. More importantly, the case is remembered for the 3 young girls whose lives were taken, and for the determination of those who never stopped seeking answers. Nearly 5 decades have passed since that summer at Camp Scott. Yet one question continues to echo through this case. Could today's forensic technology uncover answers that investigators couldn't find in 1977? Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments. And if you'd like to see more investigation-focused true crime documentaries, consider subscribing for future stories.